Welcome. I'm gonna do some art. I know nobody's gonna be watching me do this. Stop making those noises. No one going to be watching me while I do this. I know how it goes. It's fine. But I'm gonna pretend like somebody's watching me, and I'm gonna do some. I don't know why it did that. I had it just fine. It was working just fine. And then all of a sudden, it's not working fine. And I think I know why. And it's pissing me off as to why it's doing this. But I think I know why it's doing this. They changed up OBS to the point that whenever you switch between your scenes, it wants to put in place a different audio setting for your voice and everything for each individual freaking scene. OBS early on didn't have this crap. A lot of the early versions of OBS, it was whatever I set up in the mixer popped up on every one of my freaking scenes. Everything has just become so freaking annoying with this software. Ugh. Yeah, we got audio. Mother. Ugh. I didn't know it was doing that. And I forgot. What it is I forgot to have to. You have to go every time you change to a different scene that you're using for your recording. I forgot you have to go back to the freaking audio input setting and rechange the input device each and every freaking time. Like, there's no way to use like a universal audio input that'll just pop up with each scene you create. It doesn't want to work that way, and it's pissing me off. Oh my god, that means my video started off kind of weird. Or the stream started off weird, which means when people go and look at it later, they're gonna be like, huh? Son of a biscuit. Oh. Oh man. I'm doing some art. I'm doing art. Art. I'm doing art. Let's see how you. There we go. Ooh. You stop that? Wow. Oh. Man. No. Photoshop CC is annoying. For some reason, every time I go to click an item on one layer, it wants to accidentally, or I'm trying to just adjust things on one layer, it automatically clicks what's on another layer. I want to see what's on the other layers without touching the other layers, and for some reason, they've just decided to change all that. Previous Photoshops didn't have this set up by default, and I don't know how to fix it. It is annoying. I'm just kind of, since I redo all this. This is like my test canvas thingy mabob. And it's basically so I can test out my tiles in a setting just to see how they look when they're used and come together. There we go. I had to. I actually had to. Here's why. Give me a second. this little thing right here. Freaking Butterfingers. This pin right here, because my monitor is a pin monitor. It's a pin graphics monitor. The software and whatnot did not work with any Photoshop prior to CC. There was a bug that they didn't want to fix. They fixed this bug. There's a word I'm looking for here. They decided to fix the bug for Photoshop CC, and they left it in every Photoshop, you know, any of the Photoshops that work with this kind of tech. They left the bug in the other one, and it was a breaking bug, and it was causing so many issues. So anytime I go to use this pin, I have to use this Photoshop. I have to, and I just use it for everything now. I don't know how to fix this stupid thing that causes the layers to do the garbage it keeps doing. Holy moly. New music. No, 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 no. No. There we go. These are graphics that I'm going to use for a game. I was going to use these graphics for a game. I was going to use these graphics for a game in Game Maker, but I can't understand Game Maker or Game Maker Studio. I can't understand it. I'm not a programmer. It's called Pixel Game Maker MV. That's going to be out this summer, probably next month, because summer starts next month. And so I'm just working on the graphics for when it comes out. Yeah, I have to use this Photoshop. It's not something I'm particularly nuts about doing. I just kind of have to. It's going to be like a SNES game. It's going to be a platformer. I've been talking with a friend about what I was going to do with it, brainstorming, and I've sort of decided we sort of decided that it's going to be a platformer, but it's going to be explorative. It's gonna be like a cross between Zelda and Metroid and Super Mario Brothers 2. Kind of a cross between the three. Kind of all in one. With some ideas from Symphony of the Night, which is, I know it sounds weird, but some ideas I'm borrowing from Symphony of the Night. That's why the mock-up looks the way it does. This is right here is a mock-up, actually. It's a mock-up of how I want the game to look when you're playing it. We have this main character right here. His name is Andy. The main character's name is Andy, or Andrew. And the game, I think I've decided I'm going to call it Awesome Andy. That's why he's got a big A on his shirt. The game's called Awesome Andy. And it's basically like Mario, but you can explore. Yeah. It's like an explorative Mario game where you backtrack, but it's 2D, of course, and yeah. Yeah, single player. Single player. It wouldn't work as a 2-player. It's going to be explorative like a Zelda game. There's going to be too much exploration and goals and text and things like that. It won't work as a, yeah. It just won't work as a multiplayer game at all. But that's why this. No, not like Super Mario or Super Mario World. Like Super Mario Brothers 2. If you've ever played Super Mario Brothers 2, it's like Super Mario Brothers 2 but with exploration. If you've ever played Super Mario Brothers 2. Because this character is going to be able to pick things up and chunk them at enemies. He's going to be able to pull things up from the ground as well. It's a gameplay. It's a gameplay mechanic that's been abandoned by Nintendo. They've only really used it in one Mario game that I know of, and that's Super Mario Brothers 2, which isn't even really a Mario game. It's actually a game called Doki Doki Panic. And I think most people know this, Doki Doki Panic. But he won't be the rest of the world. In Japan, it's called Super Mario USA. The one that came out in the US came out in Japan as well under the name Super Mario USA. But yeah. And see, like those 3 boxes up in the right corner, you're going to find items that help you do things. So you'll find a pair of shoes that'll help you stand on certain surfaces or stand on certain enemies that you couldn't stand on before. There's going to be, I'm thinking, a hat that helps him do things maybe, or a pendant, or he can swap these things out and he'll find more along the way. And just so you know what you have during gameplay without having to check the status screen, without going into a sub-screen, you can just look at the 3 boxes. And there are no lives. Instead, I decided to use a yeah. And instead of lives, you have this meter right here in the upper left corner right here. It's kind of like Symphony of the Night's health meter. And you'll get so much health knocked off of you when you're not careful. It'll get knocked off of you and it'll go down. The gauge itself is always the same, but it uses percentages. Kind of like Symphony of the Night. But there is no leveling. That's the other thing I was going to say. There is no leveling. Instead, you'll just find items after boss fights and stuff that'll increase your health. Rather than going up levels, because if I tried to incorporate an experience point system, it would be hard to balance. I wouldn't be able to balance it very well. I don't know. I don't have anything. I've got nothing. I'm just an artist, so I've got no release dates or anything. I've got nothing. This is just me. This is just me wishful thinking, doing art. And being like, hey, I want to make this, and that's it. That's all I can do. all I can do. I don't have the know-how to make a game. Figuring out what else I want to. Oh, I think I'm gonna have a box down in the bottom that tells you the enemy that you're attacking. Just like Symphony of the Night and just like Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. I think it's Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. I can't remember. It's a Kirby game on the DS where when you fight or when you kill an enemy or you suck up an enemy or any of those things, it'll pop up a name at the bottom of what you're doing. I'm art. That's it. I'm an art guy. I can art. I can design. I cannot program. I don't know how to program. I don't understand programming. I want to make games, but I'm just I'm an artist and a designer. I'm not a programmer. I've never been able to wrap my brain around programming at all. I can't do it. I'm really hoping that Pixel Game Maker MV, when it comes out, I'm really hoping it's easy to understand. Because if it's easy for me to make what I want to make, I'll use that to make what I want to make. No. Nope. Nothing uses my art. I've tried to work with people, and they don't want to work with me. I've had a few people I've seen who are like, hey, I'm looking for an artist, and I'm saying, hey, I'll be your artist. And they're like, well, I need you to give me this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I'm just like, if you need all of that, I'm just going to back away. I hope you find what you're looking for. No. I tried to I tried to offer Exploding Rabbit my expertise in pixel art. I tried to offer. I never said that. Don't put words in my mouth. Do not put words in my mouth. No, I have people who come to me wanting credentials. They want credentials. They want to know where I went to school at, and they want to know what grades I've completed and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I feel like that's a little too personal. On top of that, I didn't go to school to learn art. I learned art on my own. Yeah, it's true. They do. I don't know. I've had a few people that were like, I need help, but then they want a lot of things. I'm thinking about just directing them towards this once I'm done with it. And then they know. That way, if somebody in the future is like, you know, can we see some credentials? All I can do is say, well, I've done this. Here's this. Look at this. I guess it's called building a portfolio. I think that's what you would call it. I'm building a portfolio. Slowly building a portfolio. I think I want to give him a stance. Like this frame is part of these other frames for running. But like I want him to have something where he's kind of like standing there, like idle. An idle stance that has him not so idle. That's what I want to do. How many chins do I have? Alright, hang on, the Amon show. I gotta ban somebody. They're being an asshole. I had to put Dash Wilder. I had to put Dash Wilder on a timeout for the moment. And I'm going to go and block him. I got to block this guy. I'm sorry. You're not going to come in here and insult me and treat me like crap. I got to block this guy. They're blocked. I think they're new. I think they made this account just to piss me off. Sorry about that, the Amon show. I had to deal with Dash Wilder. He was being a dick. Yeah, I mainly use Photoshop. I don't draw on paper anymore. I mean, I used to, but I kind of like just going straight to Photoshop first, just doing whatever I'm going to do in Photoshop. Most of it's worked out in my head anyways to begin with. Most of it's already worked out in my head. I think I got what I want. I'm gonna use this guy to give him a stance. Like, I want him to just kind of be like ready and something. I just, yeah, I don't want to give him just some plain old Mario looking stance. But yeah, I jump right into Photoshop. I just do what I'm gonna do there. The great thing about having total control over your own channel is that if somebody comes in and starts stuff, you can kick them out. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Some kind of stance where he does stuff. That would be cool. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know what's funny? The Amon show, it doesn't show you as a participant. That's weird. It doesn't show you there. It's weird. I'm trying to picture it in my head how he's gonna stand before I start doing his I think I'm gonna move his fist first. There we go. Damn it. No, you're there. I'm sorry. I can't see the text box while I'm doing the art. So I keep going back and forth. I'm not sure what to do about that either. Short of getting another monitor and hanging it up somewhere for a second screen. Which might be what I do. I might get a second monitor. Something small. Yeah. Yeah. I have to go back and forth and see what people are saying, because when I go over to do the art, no, I did say that. When I go into the little, there's a thing that says participants. When I click it, it says I'm the only participant. That's so weird, and I know I'm not. That's so weird. But no, you're there. You're talking and everything. And the only reason I'm a little slow to get back and see what you're saying is because I keep having to flip back between software. Working right for me. It's not working for me at all. Yeah, I'm that is not doing how I want it to do. It doesn't look how I want it to look. It kind of does. I got it in my head. I see it in my head, and I'm seeing how this character is standing, and oh, I know what I'm trying to do. I know how I'm trying to make him look. I'm gonna check a game real quick, because I just remembered a character that stands kind of how I want him to stand. I just thought of something. Good Lord, this music. I just remembered how, I just realized how I want him to look. I just realized how I want him to stand and everything. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's the kind of stance I want him to have. Yeah. I just realized what I want him to do. It takes me a bit to figure this stuff out. Yeah, I was thinking about how I want him, how I want his arms to be positioned and everything, and that's what I just looked at, is how I'm trying to do his positioning of his arms and everything. Just looked at something, and I liked how it looked, so. Yeah. Just realized how I want him to look. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Went wrong way with that. It could go either way. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah, either way's fine. Wrong colors. Random game music. Right now it's Kirby. Which, hopefully Nintendo doesn't come down on me for listening to that. I just thought about that. Nintendo might come down on me for listening to that. That's gonna suck. Okay, I gotta find something else to listen to. I just thought about that. I don't need that. I don't need that right now. Let's listen to... I'm thinking some funk. Yeah, it's Kirby. I'm gonna listen to something else because I don't want to get into trouble. I just realized I could get into big trouble. Can't get in trouble for this game. I'm both. I'm a Sega and a Nintendo guy. I'm just a gamer. That's what I tell people. I'm a gamer, not a Nintendo guy, not a Sega guy. I'm a gamer. Period. A good game's a good game. I played whatever I could. Yeah. I got in trouble for listening to something the other night. There was a few times I did some live streams and I got in trouble. I got in trouble for listening to anime. I grew up on both. I grew up on everything. There we go. The reason I had both is because I always bought a console late. I got into a console after its time was up. It was cheaper by then. So I didn't really get a Super Nintendo until after the Super Nintendo went downhill. Or not downhill per se. It was on its way out. When the Super Nintendo was on its way out and the Nintendo 64 came in, I got a Super Nintendo. When the N64 went out, I got an N64. It's just, I always got them when they were cheaper. So, I don't think your life would be all that different. I just realized this guy kind of looks like Mega Man now. I've got him standing like Mega Man now. That's kind of sad. Yeah, the only reason I had everything like I did is because I got it late. I got consoles late. Oh, okay. Yeah. What I mean is, like, when I was younger, you know, after the NES went out and the Super NES came in, that's when stuff got cheap for the NES. And then, because it was all used and so on and so forth. This was back before the internet and YouTube ruined being able to collect games, because I can guarantee you, despite what the guys on YouTube say, despite what oh, hang on a second, I'm trying to think of their names. Despite what GameSack says, or despite what anyone says, GameSack and all these other YouTube channels are why collecting old school games got really difficult. They can, you know, maybe not intentionally. I don't think it was intentional. I'm not going to say it was intentional. I don't think they knew what they were doing. I don't think they knew that it was going to, you know. Yeah. Once upon a time, you could pay $5 for that game. Once upon a time. YouTube, the internet, drove up the price. They can sit there and go, no, it didn't, but it did. I seen it happening before my eyes. I seen the price for a Super Nintendo game go from $12 up to $48. I seen it happen right after YouTube took off. Right after all these channels about collecting games took off. I saw the correlation. I don't think they did it intentionally. I don't think they were devious and going, oh, we're going to drive up the cost of these games. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think they realized that it would happen. I don't think it was calculated or planned, but they do have an impact on it, despite what they think. That's why I tell people, if you're going to get a game for a console, get it as soon as that console goes out. Don't wait, because eventually that console will become a collectible just like every other console. Yep. Nowadays, a faulty Sega CD is $500. Yeah, I know. It's insane. I expect that bubble to burst eventually. I expect it to burst. When you have things like you know, like my Raspberry Pi people have a way to play old games, they're not gonna buy it. They're gonna figure it out. Hey, I can pay maybe $65, put together a micro console out of a single board computer, and put the ROMs of the games that I would love to play on it, hook it up to my TV, and be able to get mostly the same experience, because all I care about, because all people really care about is playing those games. That's going to cause the bubble to burst, because people aren't going to be paying those prices. Only the select few idiots who would pay it, and people who would pay it are getting to where they don't want to pay it anymore. So it'll change. Yeah, it will in time. I'm sorry, because getting a collection of video games is not a sound financial thing to do, okay? You're not going to be able to expect in 10 years to take take a collection. It's temporary. I guarantee you it's temporary. Those games are going to go up in price just like NES and Super NES. It's very temporary. In another 8 years, PS3 games and 360 games will be pretty expensive as collectible games. It depends on the game. If the game requires a bunch of patches and junk, then they're not going to be worth jack. I feel like games that require patches and whatnot makes it more difficult to really want to collect those games, because servers aren't going to be there forever. I just thought of something I want to try. I gave him shades. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be the same way with today's games. I'm trying to think if I want to leave the glasses on him or not. I'm thinking if I want him to have glasses. I'm trying to figure out if I want him to have glasses. It makes him look less like Mario if he has shades on. A lot of 90s kids had shades, didn't they? Didn't they have shades? think 90s kids had shades. Cool Spot had shades, and so did Kid Chameleon. Kid Chameleon had shades. That was a very 90s thing. I think I'll give him shades. I'm thinking about changing his hat color too. I'm thinking about making his hat the same color as his pants, like a faded black hat. Because the yellow just looks weird to me. Giving him yellow looks weird. Oh, that looks better without the white. I think I might get rid of the whites. Is it? Are you sure? Is it back? It might be my connection. My connection is kind of bad, so... And I think I'll make it to where people can see who's talking real quick. Oh God, I don't know what's what. Ugh. There we go. Whoops. What happened? I don't know what happened. Messed something up. I suck. I wanted the people to be able to see stuff here, but then stuff went bye-bye. I think I messed something up. Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, why are you doing that? There we go. I fixed it. Don't worry, I fixed it. There we go. It says I'm still connected. That's weird. What in the world? Maybe it's the music. Is it better now? Is it still doing it? I think maybe it was the music. That is so unusual. Oh, you couldn't hear it? So weird. That is so odd. There we go. Oh man, that's crazy. I'm checking real quick to see. Okay. Okay. Well, there's sound. There's sound. Okay. Hmm. Mess that up. Hmm. don't think I've got anybody watching me now.